this is it. This is all we have. That when we die, we go back into the universe, we go back into nature as carbon.
That this is it. Because our minds are not built to accept that it can be that simple.
Yeah. I've been thinking about something though since we talked the other day that I can't wrap my head around with where your framework is. And so I think I'm not even sure how to ask it, because it'll help me to be able to ask other questions in the conversation. Because everything that you're saying to me suggests that spirituality is important because of us as spiritual beings that have sort of an eternal presence rather than just this material, temporal life as humans. If I understood right, you were saying essentially that this is it. This is all we have. That when we die, we go back into the universe. We go back into nature as carbon, and that's it for us. So our soul or our spirit doesn't continue in some other form. We don't reincarnate. We just go back into nothingness, which is almost to me like the view of an atheist who say, well, we came from nothing, we go back to nothing. So, they take a different perspective of live it up and enjoy this life because it's all you've got. And yet you're taking the perspective of be spiritual because this is all we've got. So, and I'm not understanding the reason there.
Yeah. So definition of atheist is different and very much misunderstood from Hindu religion point of view. Atheist indirectly is the one who believes in Upanishads, like the scriptures. And what scripture constantly do talk about is, this is it. Like they don't talk about the afterlife. They talk about what you are, how to identify the ego, how to identify yourself, or what to do and what not to do. It's not about believing God, because there is no mention of a single deity in Upanishad. There is one thing in the Upanishad who we call ultimate God is Brahman, which is nothing. It's called neti, neti, not this, not negate. You keep negating, and what stays at the end is the ultimate God, and which can never happen. It's just like the example that I used earlier. You're walking from one end of the universe to another end, which keeps expanding, right? So you have to just believe there is something, but don't get stuck into it. Nothing means a possibility to have something. Like we can play with the words, and that's what has been happening. It's a game of wordplay. And that's why we are going to continue argue about that.
So treat me like I'm a child here, because I'm not connecting, and maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe I don't understand the Hindu scriptures well enough.
No, you are absolutely right. Sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, we are overthinking. We are making things more complex than it is. And that's why it is hard to convince people that this is it. Because our minds are not built to accept that it can be that simple.
Yeah. But I don't understand all right, so I'm gonna give you my reasoning. I'm a competitive person. I'm a person who likes having fun, and I can be very materialistic, right? I can look at someone like Andrew Tate and be like, that would be pretty fun to live like he lives. I mean, I've been very blessed in my life materially. I've been able to travel the world and experience some of those things, but not on I don't have a Bugatti. I'm not driving around Dubai, racing supercars with, a bevy of supermodels around me. And so I can look at that just naturally. I can look at that and like be like, damn, like that would be pretty good. But I feel this inner spiritual longing or calling or drive to go deeper and be like, listen, that's cool if it happens, and I'm going to be ambitious with what I have. I'm going to be responsible with the talents and abilities and opportunities that I have, but I'm not going to seek to simply have hedonistic pleasures, materialism for the sake of having it, because I think that spiritual is more important. But if there's nothing, for me, it changes things. If this is all we have, and I do believe that all we have truly is this moment, but I also think that that's on an earthly level, where there's like different planes, where the earthly plane is one and then the spiritual is something completely different. And so I think all we have is this moment to live our lives as humans, but to seek to be more spiritual, to connect with the spiritual. But I believe that because I believe that there's something else after we die, that there's a transition, that death is transition. So if
Mm-hmm.
I look at it and I say there's nothing after I die, like I go into nothingness, then
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be like, well, like screw it, I'm gonna go pursue that life and just like endless pleasure while I'm here because there's nothing afterwards anyway. So what does it matter? I don't understand. I don't
Yeah,
understand
yeah, yeah,
because I'm overthinking it. What's the point of being spiritual if there is no spiritual in the
yeah.
like after we die?
Where the confusion is coming from is like I have bike and I call it I'm being materialistic, right? Not a great bike, but a bike that can move me around. That is
Mhm.
not materialistic. That's a need. If you have a car to fit in 4 people, sure, I wouldn't take 2 bikes. I would prefer a car instead.
Mhm.
So that's a need. Things that we have out of our need, a roof or a simple house, that's great. Not like having Bugatti is materialistic, right? Having a
Of course.
mansion is materialistic.
Yes.
So I think one thing to clear is like not like having things, physical things is not materialistic to begin with,
Mhm.
right? So
Right,
that's
because it's
one point.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like there's just certain things
Yeah,
that we do need.
it's yeah, yeah. So if we like, yes, and like people do think that if this is it, then why am I not living the life with supermodels or girls or buy costliest thing, make more money? Sure, you can do it. Why? Nobody's going to stop you.
Mhm.
But the thing is the consequences. I can buy a new car, brand new car, but the problem is I will be constantly afraid someone might scratch my car.
Mhm. Yes.
For months or 2 months or years, I will be not able to probably sleep. If I park my car on the street, I will be sleeping with thought in my mind,
Mhm.
which is useless. Like I bought the car, I spent the money, I have loan, and now I cannot sleep. So I can chase what I want. I can have like 3 or 4 girls I like, but then I have to manage it. I have to earn money. In order to earn the money, I have to be surrender to my bosses and do whatever they say. They can humiliate me. So I am, what I have to do for getting all those needs and all the struggle that I have to go through is probably worse than being minimalistic.
Mhm.
So people with short life, they have this dilemma like, yeah, it's going to end. Let me just enjoy. For how long you are going to enjoy? Like for lust, right? 40 years, 50 years, then you will be tired. Like things when you do in moderation is good, but in excess, we always do get tired. That's our nature. We will try to
Yeah.
find something else. So we will keep move on. Then why not find something that helps other while we move on? Because all we need is something to cling to temporarily. It could be money, women, people around us, or it can be same thing, people around us, but for good purpose, to teach them like, yeah, there are consequences on the other side, so which one you want to choose, and then leave them with the choice, and ultimately they would have to make the choice and go through the consequences and either suffer or be at peace a little bit. No, the fact is no single spiritual person is at peace, to be honest. None of the side is at peace. That's like usually we think that spiritual people are kind of like peaceful, but they are not. They are
Well, I mean, that's what
constantly,
the image you get from a monk meditating, or I mean, that's one of the highest frequencies is peace. And so, do you think that
yeah,
people that are
but
seeking enlightenment are going to have more peace in their lives?
that is not true, what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Because in order to be at peace, you have to figure out what is not making you peaceful first, and there will be thousands of things. So you will have to identify each one by one by one by one, and maybe eventually you will find the peace. But the whole process, entire process of spirituality is like you have this something to figure out rather than getting into the material thing, which will get you nowhere. You do this instead. You try to pick bad things out of the grains, and eventually what you will left with is a little bit grain to eat.
So it's a matter of elimination, of
It's a
getting
it's a
rid of
definitely.
things
Yeah.
and the distractions. I still, what is the the intrinsic motivation to be spiritual? Is it because of the other? How does that work? Because for me, I can be very selfish also, and I guess that goes back to the materialistic thing. So if this is all there is, why would I want to live for other people when other people can be a pain in the butt, right? And everyone like part of the lack of enjoyment and peace. So if we're talking about elimination, a lot of times it's like let's eliminate most
Hmm.
of the people around us because they are the source of my suffering. They're not the source of my joy unless they are liking my social media posts or unless they are building up my ego. Then I get that release of dopamine, and so then I need the other people. But it's like, is that you've connected that a couple times, I think, with there's growth or there's benefit from serving other people, from doing things that help other people. Why is that important if this is
Be-
all there is?
because it gives us a very free, like a free addictive juice called dopamine again,
Mhm.
right? When you help people, you feel happy, and it comes
Mhm.
for no cost. So why would I use my energy in something that is costly and can give me happiness? And why not go for the free things that releases the same thing? So helping people,
Rational.
it's free, and you helping people does give you some respect, and we all need some respect. Again, people do confuse self-respect with ego. Self-respect is not ego,
Agree. Yeah.
right? So you need self-respect, you need self-motivation. When you see people that, when you see that your help is making change in at least one person, to be honest, when I'm talking with you, it gives me a motivation to talk with more people, right? So why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah. And self-respect is something that people confuse also. It's something that is earned. And it's something that we have to earn our own respect, because
Exactly.
integrity is essentially living what you say you believe and living your values. You can fool everyone else. You can deceive everyone else, but you can't deceive yourself. And if you get
Yeah.
to the point where you're deceiving yourself, then that's a different sort of mental health issue, I guess. But so that self-respect also, I think, when you live a contradiction, it's sort of the seed for insanity, the worse that the contradiction is. And so when someone says, I'm a religious person, I believe in this, I believe in, I'm a Catholic, or I'm a
Hmm.
Hindu, or I'm a Muslim, but they don't live that. Maybe
Yeah.
other people see them going to church or going to mass or going to pray 5 times a day or whatever, and they think, oh, that person is very religious. That person is
Hmm.
excellent. But inside, like they're pretending to pray, and they're thinking about some girl, or they're thinking about work, or they're just not even, their mind is distracted. They're not thinking about what they're doing. Only we know if we're living in integrity or not. And that's why the deception is, self-esteem comes from the materialism. Like Andrew Tate, a lot of what he pushes can also be a huge deception, because it's like, oh,
Hmm.
if you get rich and you have all these things, well, you're going to be an awesome person. Well, that doesn't come from external validation.
Yeah.
Self-respect, self-confidence, self-esteem comes from within, and it comes from earning that self-respect from yourself.
Yeah. And self-respect is something not to show off to begin with. Otherwise,
You
it
don't need
becomes,
to.
it is the ego.
Exactly.
It's the ego. Yeah.
No.
So